Another video, fanatics, and another army review. Hello, how are you all doing? Hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to be covering an army that was asked in the comments section on one of my other army review videos. So thank you for responding back and giving me ideas. I really appreciate it. So the question was for the heroes, or I'm sorry, the Rangers. So the Rangers is an interesting army because it's a all hero force, which is where I was going there with that hero statement. It's a very small army. There's 5 models. They are pretty cool models, let's be honest, but it's very quick and it only has a few allies. So let's jump right into it and the Rangers. So like I said, there's 5 profiles. The biggest of them, of course, being Aragorn Strider. So I'm going to go ahead and cover him first because he is the biggest one in my opinion. Um, and definitely the best model of the army as well. So Aragorn Striders can be found under the Fellowship in the book. He is the typical Strider version from the Fellowship. He's fight 6, strength 4, defense 5. So you got to be careful with that. You're probably going to be giving him armor to make him defense 6. 3 attack, 3 wound, courage 6. So typical Aragorn minus heavy armor and all that stuff like he has when he's Elisar. 3 for Might, Will, and Fate, as we know. Plus he has Mighty Hero, which is awesome. So his only war gear is a sword. And then he's got pretty much every heroic action you can have. Resolve, march, accuracy, strike, strength, defense, and challenge. Now, he doesn't have channeling, but he really doesn't need channeling. So it makes sense for him not to have that one. Then his upgrade options are you can give him Anduril, which I definitely think is not a bad idea to do. If you're going to take the Rangers and you're going to play them pure, you might as well go ahead and have a guy who's going to have an ass-kicking sword. That way, he's going to end up being your leader because he's a hero of valor, and he does count as a hero of valor in that list. So you might as well have a good ass-kicking hero. Why not? You can give him a horse, bow, armor, or elven cloak. So pretty cool. And we already know what Anduril can do. It's an elven made hand and a half sword, so you can go ahead two-handed if you want to. Plus, it's elven made, so you're winning roll-offs on 3-ups. Pretty darn good. Excuse me, kind of late. And then we know he has Mighty Hero and Horse Lord, which is nothing to laugh at. So if you put him on a horse, we'll say it's Brago. You could potentially save a wound to Brago. So moving along, we have his father, Arathorn, who is pretty good. Arathorn used to be very popular under the old edition, kind of like I talked about in my last video with, who did I talk about? Oh, the Trolls. Oh yeah, I did the Trolls, but I was talking about how Arnor was changed. Arnor and the Rangers used to be all in one army, and unfortunately it's been changed now so that they are 2 separate armies. Not bad change thematically, but bad change competitively, because the old Arnor used to be able to take Arathorn or Aragorn Strider, the Elven twins, Eladin and Elrohir, Arvedui, Malbith, some Rangers in the north. It got really powerful just due to the amount of bows you could get in there and could do some damage. It was basically Rangers of Ithilien before Rangers of Ithilien. Arathorn, fight 5, strength 4, defense 5, kind of weak there with the defense 5. 3 attacks, 2 wounds. That's pretty cool. With the 3 attacks, 2 wounds kind of hurts. He's very much like Arvedui, He's only got 2 wounds and 1 fate. Courage 5, 3, 2, 1 for Might, Will, Fate. His rule is if your force contains Arathorn and Aragorn Strider, then it automatically loses its army bonus, and then additionally, the force will automatically be impossible allies with every other army list, regardless of what the alliance would normally be. So it says if you contain both of them. So by my understanding is if you take just Arathorn, you can still ally it with its 2 green allies and the yellow allies if you wanted to. Well, yellow, you'd lose your bonus anyway. So we're looking at green allies here because of the army bonus, which I'll cover in a little bit. So Arathorn also has armor, sword, and bow. Again, that's why you kind of took them. You could have Aragorn with a bow and a free point of might every turn to call heroic shoots. Then you had Arathorn with a bow, and they're both 3-up fight values with 3 points in might. Then you have this next guy, Halbarad, who also has a bow and some other cool stuff. He's fight 5, 3-up shoot value. Strength 4, defense 5, 2 attacks, 2 wounds, courage 6. So high courage for him. 3, 2, 1 from Might, Will, and Fate. Pretty good again. Armor, sword, and bow. So there's that bow. Heroic accuracy and heroic strike. And I don't think I covered it, but Arathorn also has heroic accuracy and heroic strike. So my apologies for that. Then he has 2 upgrade options. A horse, which is never a bad idea. Oh, I'm so sorry. And then the Banner of Arwen Evenstar. So the Banner of Arwen Evenstar is actually pretty badass. It's a 6-inch banner as opposed to the standard 3. And it's a banner, so you're going to get those VPs for those 3 scenarios that take them. To the death, I think it's to the death, heirlooms of ages past, and destroy the supplies are the 3 scenarios that require a banner for VPs. And so it's a banner, 6-inch range, and then everybody within 6 inches gains fearless, and Halbarad takes no penalty for wielding this banner. So he's going to charge in there either on horse or on foot, and have that 6-inch banner, have that 6-inch fearless bubble, and use the banner to no negative effect. So he is a high courage, but having the fearless just means you don't have to worry about rolling and doing courage tests. And this is going to be a very low model count army, and you'll see here in a minute why. So if you can just get your heroes together and just have them all charge in without having to worry about terror armies, especially if they're like a terror army that's led by with a shade. Not a shade, a ring wraith or something like that has ancient evil with a -1 to your courage. It just makes it so much easier. Terror is a huge thing in this edition, and having any sort of counter to it is a huge help to your army. So moving on, the only other 2 profiles are Rangers of the North and Dunedain, and in my opinion, I feel like there's a weird thing here. Rangers in the North are 5 points more expensive than Dunedain. The only difference is that Rangers of the North have 1 higher defense. They're defense 5, where Dunedain are defense 4. Okay? Everything else is the same. Fight 4, 3 up shoot value, strength of 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 4, 1 might, 1 will, 1 fate. They're all independent heroes. They both have a heroic accuracy. They both come with sword and a bow. Rangers come with armor, so that's why they're defense 5. They both can take a spear. Rangers can take a horse, though, which is kind of thematic based off of, the Grey companies. So something to think about there. Moving on to the army bonus. They're dangerous folk, wandering the wild. So all models from this list, this is their army bonus. I think I said that, but I'm tired. I'm really tired. I'm sorry, guys. It's like 9 o'clock for me, but I get up at 3, so for me it's like midnight almost. So all models gain woodland creature, and then Rangers in the North and Dunedain, they benefit from Arathorn, Halbarad, and Aragorn Strider Standfast. So one of those 3 heroes does their Standfast. These independent heroes, they can benefit from it, so that's really good. You're getting hero taking part in Standfast for broken courage checks. There we go again. Additionally, the Rangers of the North and Dunedain increase their attacks value to 2 whilst they have the infantry keyword. So that's another thing to look at too. I think that it's a good idea to basically just take all Rangers of the North, maybe put a couple of them on horses for some knockdown ability for traps. But then the rest of the time, you're not really going to mount a lot of guys because you want to have that extra attack when they're on foot. So I do think that Halbarad and Aragorn on a horse are extremely necessary. Aragorn, so you can get wherever the heck you want him to go. Plus, then he has 4 attacks. And like I said, I think it's probably a good idea to give him armor and Enduril. So you're going to be wounding everything on 4 ups. I think the special rule is for that. Off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that sounds right. And then you're going to be winning roll-offs on 3 up. So that's important as well because at defense 6, if you give him armor, he's kind of squishy. Now, this does mean he's going to be a very, very expensive hero, but he should be able to do everything. I think your standard kit for him should be Enduril, armor, bow, horse. You have to look at one to cut. I think you cut the bow and just maybe use his freebie point of might every turn to call heroic shoot so that the rest of your army can shoot. Now, you're going to have a very low model count army. You're talking at a minimum 25 points of model being the Dunedain. So don't expect to be overwhelming your opponent in numbers. This is a very much a sit back and take your pop shots with your rangers and with everybody, which is why I think having Aragorn with a bow is necessary. If you've got to choose something to drop, I still think dropping the bow's the best, just because having him on that horse means in an oh shit scenario where you have been completely surrounded, you're overrun, you can run him away from there, maybe save yourself some VPs, forfeited by letting him get surrounded and killed. And then just again, I really think that giving him Anduril is the best way to go. So you do get into a fight, you have that free point of might, you strike up, hopefully you get to 10. If your enemy gets to 10 as well, then you've got a 66% chance you're winning that roll off as opposed to 50 without it. Again, this is just my thought process on the army and what I would look at to take. Dunedain are cool, but I'd rather pay the few points more and get a defense 5 guy. So strength 2 shooting isn't going to be wounding my defense 4 hero. Even with a point of fate, a 1 strength 2 bow can put a wound on a 25-point Dunedain. You fail your fate and you die. That really sucks, especially because bows are a 1-point upgrade for most infantry models. 5 points if you're talking about a hero. So that would really suck to have a 1 or 5 point bow kill your 25-point Dunedain due to the fact you failed your fate check and your defense 4. So definitely think the rangers are better there. And then otherwise, maybe put 1 ranger on a horse, maybe 2 just for grabbing objectives, but really they're going to be fine on foot because as infantry they're going to have 2 attacks, 3 in reality due to the fact that with the 6-inch bubble, you're talking a 12-inch diameter there with that Banner of Arwen Even Star, you're going to be rolling. You're going to be keeping this army pretty close together. It's one of those ones that's going to try and just kind of huddle up and do what it can. Maybe use Aragorn in the first few turns along with Halbarad to do some heroic combats, tag teaming them together, slinging, shotting the 2 of them around. Using the might points, in my opinion, with the Rangers or Dunedain, to get critical wounds against your enemy. Say you target your opponent's big hero and it's mounted. Okay, well, you roll your in the way and hit the horse, and he doesn't have horse lord, and it's a 1 wound horse, and you roll a 4. Yeah, go ahead and spend that might point and take that guy off his horse. I really think that's worth it. If the Dunedain does nothing else, yeah, you've killed a 10-point horse and drastically you've reduced the hitting power to 37% of what it could basically be. If you're thinking about it, a mounted hero usually, a big mounted hero, like I said, has 3 attack base, just like Aragorn. On the charge against infantry, it's 4. And this army is going to be mostly an infantry model. So if they win, they're going to be throwing 8 dice to wound, as opposed to now he's on foot, so the maximum amount of dice they're going to be throwing to wound without a trap is going to be 3. So 3 out of 8, you've just reduced them down to 37%. Killing capability. That's really, really good right there. So I really think that spending that point of might is really useful. So look at doing things like that. Say maybe you're fighting a ring wraith on Felbeast, and you target the ring wraith with all your shots, and you get 2 wounds on nat 6s against the Felbeast, and then the third guy rolls and gets a 5. Yeah, definitely you're spending that point of might there to kill that Felbeast, because you want that ring wraith to take that falling damage. Why not? So that's definitely a good idea to do as well. And then once you get into combat and into position, maybe go ahead and use those points of might with those guys to call heroic movements if you've got them left. That way you're saving Aragorn's freebie so he can be using that to strike up in combat and guaranteeing that the 6 can do it for him. Or, striking up, making sure that he's got the higher fight value, and then if he rolls, shoddily, which is always the case for me, you've got the banner right nearby, and then, hey, you got 3 points of might in the bank that you can use. Obviously that's going to go down over turn by turn. But in a burnout scenario, you burn out your enemy's might, you're always going to have that point of might right there. So definitely a good idea to save those. And again, I can't stress enough, definitely think Anduril's the better way to go. So quick look at alliances here. I kind of got a little long-winded on the strategy. I apologize. I think that's what some folks like to hear, though. So they have 2 green allies. The first one being Dead of Dunharrow. Makes sense. The Grey Company. I do believe there is, the Return of the King Legendary Legion. You can take a good number of the heroes, like the Elven Twins and Halbarad, and I think some of the other guys you can take as well for the Legendary Legion. Don't quote me on that, but you can get pretty good with that. And then, I don't know if I would do it, though, just because of the fact that they're already super expensive models. The Dead Dunhara, you're talking 15, 16 points a model. Might as well go ahead and pay a few points more and just get a point of might for every model in your army. And then the last one is the Shire, which is actually a pretty common thing to see. Is something like Aragorn Strider thrown in there with the Shire, and then he can go ahead and use his freebie point of might for the Hobbit archers with their 18-inch bows. Yeah, I know 18-inch bows suck, but at least then you have somebody who can march. So if you need to, you can move the Hobbit 7 inches because the march will give him +3, and he can call it free every turn. Just kind of hide him behind a few rows of guys, move a few Hobbits out of the way, then march him up. Using the clearance technique that you can do since march goes when the model moves, and so there's a lot of good ways to combo that in there. Plus, you can get the banner in there, make it fearless hobbits charging things. Yeah, that's your worst nightmares when they gang up on you. They are small but mighty in number. So that is Rangers of the North. Pretty quick, although it took me just as long to do the Trolls video, it looks like. But hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know if there's another army you want to see in the comment section below. I enjoy doing these, and I enjoy helping you guys out and hearing back from you. And until next time, enjoy your MESBG hobby and enjoy Tolkien's Legendarium.